everyone, it's Jackie. I am back for another video. So this video is going to be talking about some of the issues that Val and I had after getting home. All guide dog teams, well, not all, most guide dog teams will experience some issues within the first year because things are still getting ironed out. They are bonding with their dogs. So I just wanted to give you guys an overview. This video, though, is in no means intended for you to think that Val is a terrible dog. Throughout all of these issues, she was guiding me flawlessly around the massive crowds at the university. I had started to teach her how to find me empty chairs, which is very useful. And she was avoiding a lot of the obstacles that there were on campus, which, if you are at university, are quite a lot. Let's see. So as I said, we were struggling with the issue of her stopping and hesitating to go on the stairs. So I was in contact with the school, and they told me to give her a mild verbal correction, and if that didn't work, to tug the leash a little bit forward to show her, hey, I want you to go forward. I am saying to go forward. You need to go forward. And then once she did go forward, to praise her massively, to give her a praise party and be like, good girl, Val, good job, good girl. I love praising, you guys. It's the best thing on earth. Yes. So we were still struggling with that issue. After getting to campus, we had started to learn the route to my apartment. However, Val was not going on command, and so the school told me she was hesitating to go into the street. So the school told me to try and do the same thing that I did with the stairs. If I knew that the traffic was safe, just to be firm about it, because if it was safe to cross, then there should be no reason that she wasn't crossing. Obviously, if a car was turning or it wasn't safe, then yes, they wanted her to cross. Or, no, whoops. They wanted her to stop if a car was turning or in any way going to cause any harm to the team. Obviously, they don't want her to cross. And sorry, guys, I'm super tired. It's finals week, and it's just been really hectic. So anyways, I also started having issues with her hesitating, just randomly stopping in the middle of the sidewalk as she had done in training that one day. So I tried, cheering her on, and I also tried to be firm, Val, forward, or hop up. Because if there really wasn't a legitimate reason for her to stop, then, she shouldn't, and she can't get away with that behavior, basically. So I made sure that I was being firm, and then once again, if she did move forward, to massively praise her. So number two. So then, as we were learning the route from my apartment to campus, the instructor that I was working with, a mobility instructor, not a guide dog instructor, had noticed that Val wasn't really crossing straight. I had noticed that, and he was worried because, obviously if there is a little veering, that's okay, but she was veering massively. I said massively so many times in this video, sorry, but she was veering quite a lot. So he told me, I'd really rather you didn't cross these streets and you maybe called to see any advice that they could give you, because I don't feel like you're safe. If you had your cane, you could have crossed these streets, but I don't think you are safe with the dog as it is. So I called the school, and they gave me suggestions, to try, such as putting the leash in my right hand, and they said that I would be put on a visiting list for instructors who whenever someone was in my area next, they would call me to see if they, we could work out something in our schedules for them to come and observe what was happening and help us work through this little hiccup. So as a result of sort of Val's hesitancies, I was just kind of and being a new handler, I was like, well, maybe I'm just messing everything up, or maybe I'm doing something wrong. So I was lacking confidence. I could tell she was lacking confidence. Finally, in late September, I think, we got a visit from an instructor, and she came down and helped us work through this traffic issue with clicker training. So every time that Val got to the up curb, we would click and treat. We did this at stairs as well, because we noticed that she wasn't, she was having her hesitancy. So every time she would, either go up or down a stair, up or down the first stair, because that was the main issue, we would click and treat. So, she was, we also clicked and treated at destinations just to get her to feel confident about, like, yay, you're doing a great job, kid. And so, yeah, the instructor said, you both are lacking confidence, and I think once she sees you be confident, then she'll start being more confident, and all of the issues would sort of resort themselves. And they did. I had to fake it for a bit because I was worried that this clicker stuff wasn't going to work. And she knew. She was like, I know what you're thinking, but, just it will work. And it did. She goes, I obviously understand why you're concerned. But I knew that she knew what she was doing. She obviously does. They wouldn't hire her if she didn't. So, I slowly started weaning her off of the clicker after the instructor left. 2 weeks after, I started weaning her off. And then about a month later, we were completely off of clicker. So, the traffic issue had been completely fixed. She wasn't hesitating on stairs anymore. However, the pace and pull, mainly the pace at this point, was still not consistent. And I was told, well, she'll just become more confident, and if you're confident, she'll be confident, and it'll improve that. It didn't. And she was still randomly stopping, so I was trying everything that I knew because she wasn't stopping for, any valid reason. So I was in contact with the school. They said, okay, try clicking again at destinations. I did that, and it worked for a while, except that I noticed Val was only increasing pace when she got close to a destination, not throughout the trip. So I called them, 2 or 3 weeks after, and I, told them what was happening. And they said, okay, try clicking and treating for an increase in pace. And I tried that, but they didn't really seem to help. She wanted the treat, and after she got the treat, she was like, okay, cool, I'm going to slow down again. So I was, clicking and treating, but I couldn't click and treat unless she sped up. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, because dog wants a treat, but I can't click and treat unless she speeds up. But she wasn't speeding up, so I couldn't give her any treats. So that was hard. I also noticed around this time that she was having anxiety whenever I left her in her crate, whether that was to go take a shower or go to, use the restroom. If I was gone for extended periods of time, even though I had, acclimated her to it as we had done in class, my roommate said that she would whine and sound like she was going crazy in her crate. So they would, take her out just, if someone was there. If not, she had to stay in there. But one time that I did leave her, mind you, I wasn't gone for a long time, only about an hour and a half. She peed in her crate, and I started noticing that, when I was going to the bathroom, she would nudge her head against the crate and whine because she didn't want me to leave her. And I tried everything to get her to stop whining. We also had issues with her not wanting to rest or stay put while I was cooking or otherwise occupied. And we were able to sort that by having her on tie down and just praising her whenever she was resting really well and quietly. And that took a lot of work. I think it took about 4 or 5 months, but in the end, she was able and is able to rest in while I'm cooking or when I tell her to do so. Okay, so we still had this pace and pull issue. So around late October, early November, I was put on the visit list again to have an instructor see if we could sort anything out, especially because we still had this anxiety sort of thing and the whining, and I was in constant contact with the school. If any of the school are watching this, they probably got so tired of me because I literally called every 2 weeks, sometimes every week. It was bad. I kind of feel bad. But anyways, I had started noticing that whenever we went into food court, she was getting a little more sniffy or trying to go after, a piece of food there, a piece of food here. So I was using the gentle leader with her, and I started incorporating food as part of our obedience. However, she did amazing and always has done amazing at obedience. So I tried changing it up, and that was hard sometimes for her, but for the most part, obedience was excellent. There were no issues with obedience. There really aren't. So the instructor came mid-November, I think the week before Thanksgiving or so, and he saw us working together. He gave me some suggestions, to stand more by her butt, but he understood too that, I was trying to get more pace and pull out of the dog, so I had unconsciously shifted towards her front, but he told me, not to do that, so I made it a point every time, even if I had to stop, once through the trip or something, to just check, am I by the dog's butt? But he could see that that her pace was not matching what I had wanted, and that her pull was not matching what I had wanted. Now, I don't like a hard pull. I don't like feeling my arms getting ripped off, but I also don't like having any pull, and that's what I was getting with her. So the instructor, said, he and another person at the school said that maybe we weren't the best match for each other, which sometimes does happen. And I was like, okay, well, we could do a Juno walk just in case, but I really still want to keep working at these issues. I don't want to give her back because she still does a lot for me. She still was guiding me around obstacles and around the campus really well, and around the people. And, again, I was starting to teach her, my seat in certain classes, or how to find an empty seat and stuff like that. And so I said, we could do a Juno walk, and we did. But I'm not ready at this point to give her back. The instructor also saw us working on her scavenging, and he said I was doing everything that I knew, but that if my corrections weren't effective, that I needed to give a harder one. So, I kept that in mind. Then we had Thanksgiving break, and when we got back, things were really good for a while, but then the second week we were there, things weren't so hot. And throughout this whole thing, I think it's important that you all know that we were yo-yoing. So some days were really good, some days weren't. Maybe the morning was great and the afternoon wasn't. Maybe one block was good and the other wasn't. Maybe half a block was good, the next quarter wasn't, and the last quarter was. It was very unreliable. I didn't know if I was going to get the energetic dog, the slow dog, or what I was going to get. So that was hard. But in December, I had to leave her alone for about 50 minutes, and when I got back, there was no dog in the crate. There was a big hole in the crate, and the dog was wandering around the house. So that was hard. And we had the Christmas holidays, New Year's, yada yada. I got the flu, woo-hoo. I turned 21, yay! We came back to campus, and I just started noticing that her scavenging had gotten a lot worse. It wasn't just in the food courts now, it was anywhere that she saw maybe anything interesting, even if it was just a spot on the floor, a paint spot on the floor, she was trying to go after it. I was using the Gentle Leader daily at this point. There was still no pace and pull, and I also started noticing that she did not want to get into the harness. She was starting to hide behind me, and she was, if I didn't have the leash on and was holding onto the leash, she would kind of run away from the harness or not come to me at all. And I tried with food to get her to come to me, and she would, to get the food, and so I got hold of her collar and her leash and everything, but she was not about having the harness put on her, so that was kind of hard to see, and so I called the school to see, if I was doing something wrong, but again, the scavenging had gotten really, really bad. It was every 90 seconds that she was scavenging. There was still no pace, no pull, and walks that should have taken us, 20 minutes were taking 40, 50, an hour sometimes. So walks that were taking 5 minutes on campus now took 10, 12, 15 minutes not 15, but 10 to 12 minutes because she would stop to scavenge, and none of the corrections that I gave her were effective. I would fling food out of her mouth and she would try and get it, and my friends had even started to notice. One of them commented, wow, she's really going after the food and she gives zero craps about what you say. The food is more of a reward than your corrections are a punishment, and you're not being easy on her, like you are correcting her good and proper. But it was hard. It was hard to see this dog who had not scavenged start to get these scavenging behaviors 5, 6, 7 months into our relationship. And I'm not sure that, I don't think she's a scavenger because she doesn't do it when she's not in harness. And so I'm wondering if it's because she's too stressed by the work, or if it's sort of a coping mechanism and kind of related to her separation anxiety with me. So, there's an overview of the issues that we were having. Again, this video was not meant to be negative. Val still did an amazing job at guiding me, and I love her so much, and so much to her, because she gave me so much confidence. She's just an angel. She's an angel put in my life by God, despite all these issues. Anyway, sorry this video was so long. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, comment with any questions, concerns, or suggestions for future videos. I will see you all tomorrow. Bye!